everyone. Welcome back to Marx Library Live, Week 8.
Yeah.
Yeah? Just go for it.
Sure, Week 8. Okay. Hi, I'm Beth and Stephanie. I am the Arts and Humanities Librarian here at the Marx Library at the University of South Alabama.
And I'm Stephanie Eversard. I'm the Social Sciences Librarian here at the Marx Library.
And I didn't think ahead, and now I have to, drain my tea bag on... Hi, it's fine.
Well, we still have our soaked book from 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, so that's where it landed, guys. Okay, so what are we doing today, Stephanie?
Okay, so remember last week, I know they did because they were tuned in, when we developed a topic. We're going to take that topic and we're going to talk about how you can use that topic sentence to find information.
Okay, so this is kind of done. I'm gonna play student for a second. Okay, so what's the point of that and why? I already have a topic. Can I just start searching?
No, you cannot. Okay, so you're probably used to using something like Google, right?
Yeah.
And if you go to Google, you can put your whole topic in.
Yeah, we plunk in whole sentences, right?
All the time. We ask it a question, and we get results.
And Google's like, here's some stuff.
The library resources are not that nice. They don't talk to
They're
us.
smarter than that.
They're smarter, and in some ways not smarter.
In some ways not smarter.
Because they don't understand natural language the way Google
Right,
does.
Librarians call that natural language searching, just what Stephanie mentioned. So, the idea that, you can talk to a computer like I'm talking to Stephanie, right?
And we do it all the time.
We do
Google.
it, we talk to our phones, right?
So it makes it so easy. But when you go to library databases, if you try to use that natural language, you're going to hit a dead end.
And why is that?
Because it doesn't speak that language.
Right.
It speaks the language of...
Speaks the language of keywords, search terms, but also, which we may talk about at some point, indexing terms or controlled vocabulary, which is totally different. But we want to focus on how to take the topic sentence that you have and how to generate, and it's a terrible word, term, but generate a word bank, really, right?
It kind of is... So
surrounding
that you're not just,
your topic.
So you don't just have the words that are literally in your sentence, but you have lots of alternative ways of searching for the same ideas.
Yeah, because how many times have you guys done a search on a topic and said oh, I didn't find anything. There's obviously nothing on my topic, right? The problem is not that there's nothing on your topic. The problem is that you haven't found the right word or language to use to find those things on your topic.
Right, so the database just doesn't understand what you're trying to get from
Yeah, it's what are you asking me?
I don't know what that means.
Right? So let's go ahead and start. And I, have a visual representation because I don't know if this is going to translate. It's going to be backwards. But you guys can kind of get the idea. I have my students actually physically do this, which a lot of people, I think, get frustrated with me. They're like, I'm not 3. And I'm
I just want to put in my topic.
I understand you're not 3 years old. I understand you understand this. But something about, visually representing it, the first couple times that you do it really makes sense.
Yeah, it really helps.
I think they see librarians do searches all the time, and they're like, oh, well, they just immediately take a topic and start looking. And we do, but you think about how often we search, right? This is something...
a million times every day.
Right. This process here is something that we internalize and, do in our head, right?
Yeah,
and
so
you'll get to that point,
really
too.
quickly as we're... Because we just well, that didn't work, let me try this. That didn't work, let me try that.
Right. And you'll get to that point, too. But really, this is a good practice to kind of start. So let's start.
It'll help you get thinking in that way too.
Yeah.
You're probably not used to thinking that way.
No, I mean most people aren't, right? We're used to kind of translating our search skills that we learned in Google that work there. So let's go ahead and take our first column here, which is keyword, for those of you who can't see. So Stephanie, what's a keyword?
Keyword. I want to recite our 102.
I know.
It's a word or phrase that represents the most important concepts in your topic.
Yeah, and a good thing to remember when identifying keywords from your topic is they are probably the nouns, the important nouns from your topic. Avoid action words, verbs. They don't really help you. They're not great search terms. If you can think about, maybe translate that action word into the noun form if you have to. And avoid prepositions and prepositional phrases.
Yeah, they don't really add anything to a search. And there are other words, too, that are kind of meaningless, like effects.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Issues, effects,
advantages,
disadvantages. Those are just not great search terms. Impact is one of the worst. Right, they're not good search terms because they don't define your topic in any way.
Right, you could use those to talk about pretty much any topic ever. So keywords are those words that are essential to talking about your topic.
Right, okay, so let's look at our topic sentence from last week. What was our topic sentence?
We wanted to do the bullying one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So...
We want the bullying one. Okay.
the question that we came up with was, how does online anonymity exaggerate bullying behavior in high school students?
Okay, so if we were going to identify our
anonymity, I thought that was going to get me stuck.
Anonymity. Okay, what are our? I actually read it last week too. I was like, anonymity. It's a hard one to get out. It's like thesaurus for me. I have to really slow it down.
Thesaurus.
Just slow it way down. Okay. Okay, so identify our keywords, Stephanie. What we got here?
All right, so we need online.
Yep.
We need anonymity. I wonder if we need to keep those, or we should separate them.
Yeah.
Bullying, high school, and students. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and we have more keywords than I've got boxes, but
though we maybe could look
high
at
school students together. I think
together,
so.
Yeah. Because then we could look at teenagers, adolescents.
Okay. All right. So literally, we have just identified our keywords from our topic sentence, and we put them in the column keyword. Right? It's pretty basic, pretty simple. Now, the next thing we want to get you thinking of is making the leap from keywords into search terms. Right?
So what's the difference between a keyword and a search term?
Okay, so search terms are literally just the stuff that you put, the words that you put into the boxes to search, right? So your search terms can include your keywords, as they should.
But it's going to include other things, too.
Right. And the first thing we want you to start thinking about are identifying immediate synonyms. So, fourth grade, a synonym is a word that means the same thing, right? So, which, you'd be surprised. So, first off, just think, do I have any keywords that have direct synonyms? Putting Stephanie on the spot here.
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot.
Online,
not
high school student. What's another kind of direct synonym for high school, maybe?
Secondary?
Secondary education. We'll go with that. And I heard one librarian explain bullying. I know it's terrible.
Okay.
I was writing quickly. I have terrible handwriting, by the way. I heard one librarian explain this to a class as we're essentially playing a word association game.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
Yeah, so like just think of terms that like for direct synonyms. What are some direct synonyms here? I think those are probably our most direct synonyms.
I think you're right. Really, most of your search terms are going to come in related terms.
Related terms. And so what do we mean by related terms,
Right, so these are words that are, that as the name implies, have something to do with your topic, but don't necessarily mean the exact same thing. And so in addition to synonyms, you might think about going narrower, like how could you be more specific? Or you could go broader, how could you be more general? So those are the major ways you're going to come up with related terms.
Yeah. So what are some related terms to something like online?
So if we wanted to be more specific, well, we can't really go too much broader than online.
Right.
We could look at social media.
Social media.
We could look at
the internet.
The internet.
If we wanted to be even more narrow, we could specifically choose a social media platform.
Right, so we could look at
Facebook, etc. What about the concept of bullying?
Okay, so we could... that one's kind of on the spot. Maybe more...
That was pretty close to what you'd actually call it, right?
I guess you could maybe think about... I'm trying to think of other like specific kinds of bullying, like sexual harassment.
Yes.
Gossip, maybe. I don't know if that would bring up anything.
Who knows? That's another thing I think people always like. They're like, oh, I don't know if that's going to work.
Who cares?
Like, put it in, and then if it doesn't work, and you didn't break anything, you just go back to your word bank.
I tell my students nobody dies.
Yeah, this is not surgery. You're like, oh, I cut the wrong leg off. No, like...
You get to try it.
You get to try it again.
You don't just get to, you're going to have to.
You should, right? So, what about, like, high school students? So, we have secondary education. What's another term for, like... What's maybe a broader term for this demographic?
Teenagers.
Adolescents.
Young adults, maybe. Related, not exactly the same.
Right. And why might a word like adolescence, why might that make an impact on our search?
Well, if you are looking for sciencey articles, then they're probably going to use the word adolescent.
Right. So if you're looking for articles written by psychologists
Or
about
sociologists,
something like that, about the impact of social media bullying on a specific population, right? They're most likely to refer to that specific population by adolescent rather than teenagers, right?
And that's especially important if you're looking for peer-reviewed articles.
Yes.
Because that's the kind of language they're going to be using.
Yeah, it's the difference. I use this example all the time. It's the difference between climate change and global warming, right? Global warming is what we read about, like the headline, global warming. But if you ask a climatologist, they're going to refer
they're not
to
going
it.
to call it that.
They're not going to call it because it's climate change. It's not simply just warming, right? Okay. Anything else obvious we've got here?
Any suggestions from the audience?
We've got people watching today.
They're waving at us, but...
Hi. We'll take suggestions from you guys. Anonymity is just something that's kind of like, it is what it is. I can't really think probably of any kind of other terms. I think that's pretty good.
I think it's pretty good, yeah.
Pretty good list. Okay.
And this is something that can develop.
It should develop.
After you begin searching, too. Because you're going to come across language that you probably didn't think of, and you can add it to your chart.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. Is like, don't just go like, okay, it's dunsies, like I'm done. No, like this is work. It's a working list. Okay, so if you run across an article that, like, I don't know, some sociologist nails this like interpersonal something or other that they call bullying, and you're like, oh.
Right. Interpersonal conflict.
That's the term, right? Okay. That's the one I'm going to use. So add that to your chart list thing here.
So what you're trying to do is come up with all the possible ways you could search for information, not only to help you find some stuff, but to help you find as much stuff
as possible, right? So that's why Stephanie mentioned definitely going broader and narrower. Sometimes broader articles provide a really awesome context for a paper. So, like in this case, let's say you were specifically looking at Facebook interactions, right? Bullying, but you broaden your search a little bit and you look at something like social media and you find a really awesome article that looks at like all of the social media platforms potentially, right?
Or maybe it looks like a history of these kinds of interactions.
Right, and
like
how it's developed, how the study of this topic has developed, right? It's a really useful article for you because it provides you with a context that you didn't have before, but you wouldn't have found that article if you hadn't broadened your search a little bit.
Right.
So that's a good example, like Stephanie mentioned a second ago, of like, you don't do this one time.
Do it over and over and over again.
And over again.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, it's kind of like a little bit like Connect 4, but...
And it does feel time consuming at the time, especially when you just want to like get into, you just want to start putting stuff in the boxes. But trust me, in the long run, it will save you so much time.
Yeah, it's just like we talked about last week, like forcing yourself to write your topic as a sentence seems silly to some people, but you'd be surprised how difficult it can be and how much it shows that you do not have a developed topic, right? And the same goes for developing search terms. Like, it's very simple to just take these words that you have directly from your topic, plunk them in, and then go like, oh,
there's nothing on my topic.
There's nothing on my topic. When you haven't done kind of the forward-thinking work of like, maybe I should come up with some related terms. And like I said, this will begin to happen quicker and quicker and quicker.
You'll get better and better at it.
And then you'll start to not have to break out the piece of paper every time you do it.
And I've noticed also that this process sometimes helps students think through their topic even further.
Yes.
Because maybe in doing this you realize that you're really interested in sexual harassment through, anonymous, or something.
Right, like all of a sudden you decide you're actually really interested in sexual harassment and gender relations in gaming media.
Right.
Right? And you're like, oh, that's what I want to write about.
Yeah, and then you've narrowed it even more. You've got a stronger argument. So it's a good process to go through for lots of reasons.
Lots of reasons. So trust us. Make yourself a little gridsy. It doesn't have to be pretty like this, but I keep these in my office.
Right.
Like, I'm like, here you go, grad student.
But I don't want to.
I know. I'm like, I don't want to either. But make yourself a grid. Do the work beforehand. Keep a running list of terms. Stephanie made that very astute suggestion. It's a really, really smart thing to do.
So
we are right at time.
So
in the last 2 weeks, we have taken nebulous interwebs topic, made it into an actual workable topic, right?
And we took that workable topic, we used it to extract keywords, we used those keywords to generate search terms, and now we have some language that we can go into the library resources and actually find information.
Yeah, which, oh my god. And so, you hadn't done this in over 2 weeks, right? You've done it immediately. It'd probably take you, 20 20 minutes,
Yeah.
25 minutes.
Not very
if you
long
really
at all.
sat down and did the work. It's worth it.
It
I
is
promise.
totally worth it, yeah.
It saves you so much time on the searching end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do that. Listen to your friendly librarians. We're not leading you astray. We're trying to be helpful. Okay. So next week, we're going to talk about another thing that's kind of related to this, but not directly related. It's peer review. What is it, and why do you care?
Yes, because you probably have noticed your professors are kind of obsessed with it, right?
Kind of obsessed.
Extremely obsessed.
Yeah.
So what's the big deal? What is peer reviewed? Why are they telling you to get peer reviewed articles all the time?
So you've done the work, like you've done some, and you've started preliminarily searching, and you're like, well, they keep I'm finding stuff, but I don't know if it's peer review. I don't even know what peer review is.
So we're going to talk to you about what that means, how to find them, and why they're so important.
And why it matters to you, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about that week, so definitely tune in for that one, because I feel like that is like a puzzle wrapped in an enigma for students.
It is.
They're like, wait.
Because they've almost all heard of it, but nobody knows what it means.
Or it gets crazy where they're like, well, wait a minute, this says it's in a peer-reviewed journal. Why isn't it peer-reviewed? And you're like, oh!
Well, it was
this is
weird.
where things get weird! Like, so, yeah.
Okay, I know the clicky thing told you.
I know that the clicky lied, okay? Right. So we'll talk all about that next week. And we will expose myths and legends in peer review.
You don't want to miss it.
There'll be gremlins. Yeah. Okay. So, and before we go, we should probably talk about...
So, you might notice some people around the library wearing these little buttons that say, ask me for research help.
Mine's an angry cat.
And mine is an owl. So, since we relocated to Learning Commons, we have a student who, checks people in with your JAG ID, but the person sitting next to that student worker... Yeah, there are student workers that are awesome. There's always someone sitting next to that student worker, and that person is a librarian or one of our highly trained reference staff. And those are the people who can help you with these kinds of research questions. How do I find sources? I need help.
How do I narrow my topic?
Yeah.
I saw a librarian with a weird grid thing. What is that?
Can I get one of those?
Can I get one of those, right? So ask these people those kind of library questions that you need, right? This is just a little indicator that we're here to help.
Yep, that we are experts and we're here to help you.
We're here to help.
Okay. And there are owls and cats.
And coffee.
And all kinds
and just dark black ones for me.
Yeah, plain dark black, just like her soul.
Pretty much.
You can tell she's evil, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So, Evil here signing off for the week. Do our social media spiel.
All right, so you're on Instagram. Encourage your friends to follow us because there is really cool content like what you just saw. We are also on Facebook, and all previous episodes of Marx Library Live are on YouTube, and I saw someone regretted missing the one that we did last week. So if you're watching this one, you can catch that previous episode on YouTube.
Yeah, and you want to, right? Because this will make a whole lot more sense if you can start last week.
So last week, this week,
and the next week.
And the next week, yeah.
Okay, cool, guys. And if you have suggestions for things that we should talk about on Facebook, Instagram, Marx Library Live, where we are right now, let us know. Drop it in a comment on our Instagram feed.
Send us a message.
Send us a message. Do something. Drop it in our inbox. Cool. All right. Okay, guys.
At this point, then we start to reveal how totally uncool we are. So
I think reveal, whatever. Like
reveal.
It's pretty obvious.
Maybe emphasize.
Right. Underscore.
So we should probably let him go.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a nice week.
See you next week. Oh wait, Mardi Gras. We will not see them next week.
That's right. You guys have a nice Mardi Gras.
And we'll see you 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.